heavy light begins. I stood at the junction where the gravel turned to sand, with a pocket full of silence and a hollow in my hand. The signposts were stripped by the winter gale, leaving nothing but the ghost of a winding trail. Searching for direction that I cannot name. Every path I take ends up looking the same. Staring at the ceiling while the hours grow tall, waiting for a motion or a reason to call. It is the weight of the pause in a restless mind, leaving the certainties far behind. The clock is ticking like a hammer on a nail. The promises are thin and the colors are pale. I asked the wind, but the wind had no reply. Just a cold gray wash across a hungry sky. I put my shoes in the middle of the floor, wondering which one leads to an open door. The coffee is bitter, the morning is late. I am just a passenger leaning on the gate. There is no manual for the folding of the day, no script to follow for the words I ought to say. The stillness is a desert that I have to cross, calculating gate in the middle of the loss. The mercury is falling and the tide is coming in. Searching for a direction that I cannot name. Every path I take ends up looking the same. Staring at the ceiling while the hours go tall, waiting for a mountain or a reason to call. It in the weight of the pause in a restless mind, leaving the certainties far behind. Searching for a direction that I cannot name. Every path I take ends up looking the same. They're staring at the ceiling while the hours go tall, waiting for a mountain or a reason to call. It is the weight of the pause in a restless mind, leaving the certainties far behind. The midnight hounds are pacing near the gate. The copper sky begins to lean and sway. I'm seeking out a heavy hand of fate to brush the dusty common ghost away. The shadow stands where sunlight used to spill, between the velvet curtains and the floor. I'm climbing up that steep and jagged hill to knock upon a different kind of door. Give me the heat that makes the iron bend, a physical salvation for the soul, a temporary lover and a friend, to fill the hollow spaces in the whole. The scholars talk of mercy and of grace, while hunger gnaws the marrow from the bone. I'm looking for a solid human face to break the silence of a standing stone. The prophets preach of letters to the stars, but I am firmly rooted in the clay. I'll trade my secrets at the harbor just a silver coin tonight, tossed into the bottom of the well. I'm chasing down a spark of primal light before the ringing of the morning bell. Give me the heat that makes the iron bed, a physical salvation for the soul, a temporary lover and a friend, to fill the hollow spaces in the hole. Give me the heat that makes the iron bend, a physical salvation for the soul, a temporary lover and a friend, to fill the hollow spaces in the hole. The morning coffee cools beside her empty chair. The stillness of the hall is more than I can bear. I found your woolen coat forgotten by the door. It holds a scent of pine that you don't wear no more. The dust is settling on the records that we played. The price of every memory is the debt that must be paid. I walk down to the pier where gray salt meets the sky, to ask the shifting tide the bitter reason why. The wooden planks are rotting in the winter rain. The rusted iron anchors cannot hold the pain. I see a signature upon a yellowed page, a ghost trapped in the ink of a different age. Oh, the shadows lengthen long across the kitchen floor, and I am knocking on a heavy bolted door. The world keeps spinning like a wheel that's lost its way, while I am stranded in the light of yesterday. It's a hollow kind of hunger that no bread can ever fill, when the heart is moving on but the soul is standing still. They tell me time is like a river deep and wide, that washes all the sorrow out with every tide. But I am wading through the mud and tangled weeds, sowing seeds of silence for all my lonely needs. There is no map to guide me through this barren land, just the fading pressure of your vanished hand. The neighbors stop to talk and then they look away. They have no words for what the blackest crows would say. I've packed the silver spoons and locked the cedar chest. I've put the frantic questions in my mind to rest. The clock is ticking, but the pendulum is bent, counting out the years that we already spent. Oh, the shadow lengthen long across the kitchen floor, and I am knocking on a heavy bolted door. The world keeps spinning like a wheel heart is moving on, but the soul is standing still.
line, the honesty of the tongue-tied
clumsy narrative begin. Precision is a lonely goal compared to stories poorly told. I whispered a prayer in the wrong case to a God who speaks in every sound. He didn't mind the way I shook or how my feet barely touched the ground. The map is torn and the ink is blurred, but I found the pulse beneath the words. So let the stutter be my anthem now. Let the hesitation be my pride. I am learning how to breathe out loud with nothing left for me to hide. 1,000 errors pave the way to where I finally meant to say, oh, the beauty of the fractured line, the honesty of the tongue-tied soul. When the meaning spills outside the frame and the fragments make a different whole, it is a grace of falling down in a borrowed suit and a borrowed town.
The radiator hums a flat minor key while the dust motes dance in the morning shafts. I watched you fold your laundry by the sink, measuring life in small domestic drafts. You left a ring of coffee on the desk, a temporary stain of where you stood. I find myself tracing the outer edge, doing the things that a quiet person would. We walked the shoreline where the salt air bites. The sand was cold and sticking to our heels. You told me how you fear the fading lights and how the changing of the seasons feels. I didn't have the words to patch the cracks, so I just adjusted the collar of your coat, keeping the heavy wind from off your back, writing the lines that stay inside my throat. It is a slow pull of the tide against the shore, a gravity we never asked to hold. I am finding things I didn't know before in the stories that remain forever told. It is the way you lean your head against the glass, watching the heavy clouds begin to break, letting the shadows of the birds just pass, for the simple sake of being wide awake. The radio is bleeding static through the wall. The neighbor's dog is barking at the rain. I saw your picture leaning in the hall, a frozen moment salvaged from the drain. You have a way of looking through the lens, as if you see the atoms start to spin, where the beginning of the ending ends and where the actual repair can begin. The clock on the mantle is 10 minutes fast, running away from the ghosts of the past. But I am content to sit here in the slow, watching the garden bed start to grow. It is a slow pull of the tide against the shore, a gravity we never asked to hold. I am finding things I didn't know before in the of being wide awake. Shore of gravity we never asked to hold. I am finding things I didn't know before. In the stories that remain forever told, it is the way you lean your head against the glass, watching the heavy clouds begin to break. That the shadows of the birds just pass, for the simple sake of being wide awake. Ooh, 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 the white tiles are counting every heartbeat against the jagged lines of a broken screen. The morning comes like a heavy hammer, nailing shadows to the floorboards of the mind. I trade in my reflection for a stranger who stares back with eyes of hollow glass, searching for the grain within the timber before the 10-minute hours start to pass. Oh, the map is folded where the road is torn, and the ghosts are dancing on a garden thorn. The medicine man is selling dusty rain to wash the silver rust from everything. It is a quiet war fought in a paper house where the lion sleeps inside the timid mouse. Oh, the map is folded where the road is torn, and the ghosts are dancing on the garden thorn. The medicine man is selling dusty rain to wash the silver rust from every vein. It is a quiet war fought in a paper house where the lions sleep inside the timid mouse. The calendar's lost its grip on seasons. August feels as frozen as the deep of March. The clock is ticking backward through the reasons beneath the weary and a crumbling arch. There are no medals for the silent struggle, no parades for battles won inside the head. Just the puzzle pieces left to juggle while the world is sleeping in a golden bed. The wires thin above the valley floor, 1,000 voices knocking at the door, but the key is buried in the shifting sand, held within a cold and trembling hand. Oh, the map is folded where the road is torn, and the ghosts are dancing on the garden lawn. A medicine man is selling dusty rain to wash the silver rust from every vein. In the quiet war fought in a paper house where the lion sleeps inside your timid mouse. Oh, the map is folded where the road is torn, and the ghosts are dancing on the garden lawn. The medicine man is selling dusty rain to wash the silver rust from everything. It is a quiet war fought in a paper house where the lion sleeps inside the timid mouse. The morning light cuts patterns through the heavy cotton drapes, tracing the freckles on your shoulder like a map of hidden capes. How watch the way you're breathing makes the tangled blankets rise, while the world stays frozen just beyond your closed and quiet eyes. It's a simple kind of gravity that pulls me to the floor, realizing I have never known a heavy heart before, until it filled with every word you spoke throughout the night, holding back the shadows till the room was bathed in white. The coffee's getting cold and the clock is stuck on 9. I'm tracing every crooked thought along your tangled spine. There's no use in the logic that the clever men discuss, when the only thing that matters is the silence here with us. And it's a long road winding toward a house I've never seen, somewhere in the distance between a gray and emerald green. I'm tangled in the fabric of the life you're dreaming through, just a common man lost in the holy light of you. It's a weight upon my spirit and a fire in my veins, the kind of restless comfort that can break a dozen chains. We walked across a gravel path where the river meets the bend. You asked me if the summer heat would ever find an end. Your boots were stained with red clay and your hair was coming loose, while I searched for any sentence that could offer some excuse to stay within the shadow of the way you tilt your head, remembering the stories that your grandmothers had said about the girls who carry lightning in the palms of folded hands, and the boys who try to catch them in the shifting desert sands. And it's a long road winding toward a house I'll never see, somewhere in the distance between the gray and emerald green. I'm tangled in the fabric of the life you're dreaming through, just a common man lost in the holy light of you. It's a weight upon my spirit and a fire in my veins, the kind of restless comfort that can break a dozen chains. And it's a long road winding toward a house I've never seen, somewhere in the distance between the gray and emerald green. I'm tangled in the fabric of the life you're dreaming through, just a common man lost in the holy light of you. It's a weight upon my spirit and a fire in my veins, the kind of restless comfort that can break a dozen chains. The dust settles on the glass where your reflection used to hide, moving through the hollow halls with nothing left inside. You trace a map of your own palms to see where lines begin, tearing off the winter coat to touch the naked skin. The clock is ticking backward in a room of drifting white, looking for a match to strike against the coming night. Unfolding like a letter that was never sent away, digging through the iron soul to find the light of day. The mirror is a stranger with a name you used to know, breaking through the frozen crust that let the body grow. It's a long road walking back to where the heart resides, turning over every stone where the secret spirit hides. Unfolding like a letter that was never sent away, digging through the iron soul to find the light of day. The mirror is a stranger with a name you used to know, breaking through the frozen crust that let the body grow. It's a long road walking back to where the heart resides, turning over every stone where the secret spirit hides. Oh, life is just a waking dream that cheats the grasp of death. So throw the compass in the creek and let the current lead, harvesting the grain from every wild and lonely seed. The mountains aren't a barrier, they are a place to stand, writing out a brand new story with a steady hand. The wind is singing secrets that your ears can finally hear. The horizon isn't distant and Mount F is crystal clear.
Eyes folded like a letter that was never sent away, digging through the iron soil to find the light of day. The mirror is a stranger with the name you used to know, breaking me the frozen crust and let the garden go.
It's a long road walking back to where the art resides, turning over every stone where the secret spirit hides.
Unfolded like a letter that was never sent away, digging through the iron soil to find the light of day. The mirror is a stranger with the name you used to know, breaking through the frozen crust and let the garden grow.
It's a long road walking back to where the heart resides, turning over every stone where the secret spirit hides. Stack up by the gate, the garden hoses tangled in the weeds. I left a half-drunk coffee on the plate while checking on a pumpkin patch and seeds. The radiator hums a lonely tune, a copper kettle whistles in the hall. I might be moving out of here by noon, before the golden maple leaves can fall. I tuck the heavy winter coats away, the cedar chest is locked and bolted tight. There is no use in begging time to stay, or keeping every candle burning bright. The neighbor's cat is sleeping on the fence, the mailman has an ox on Saturday. It makes a strange and quiet kind of sense that everything eventually goes gray. But don't you worry where the spirit goes when all the heavy bones are laid to rest. It's just a folding of the worn out clothes, a little bird departing from the nest. The light is soft upon the dusty floor, there's nothing left to carry on. Just walk right through the open wooden door until the final trace of breath is gone. The clock upon the mantelpiece has stopped, the shadows stretch across the kitchen tile. This heavy iron anchor has been dropped. I think I'll sit and linger for a while. There's no more hunger and there's no more thirst. The ledger has been balanced in the end. The laugh becomes the same as was the first, a broken circle starting to unbend. The attic holds the boxes of the past, the photographs of faces I once knew. I knew the summer heat could never last, across the meadow sparkling with the dew. The gravel caught the silence underfoot, the wind is blowing through the empty pines. The fire settles down to ashen's good, between the crooked and the narrow lines. The stars are getting ready for the show. The moon is hanging steady in the sky. It isn't such a frightening way to go. It isn't such a bitter way to die. So don't you worry where the spirit goes when all the just a folding of the worn out souls. A little bird departing from the nest. The light is soft upon the dusty floor, and there is nothing less to carry on. Just walk right through the open wooden door until the final trace of breath is gone. And don't you worry where the spirit goes when all the heavy bones are laid to rest. It's just a folding of the worn out toes. A little bird departing from the nest. The gears are rusted in the clockwork of the day. I am staring at the ceiling in a familiar way. The dust is settling on the boots I used to wear. I am breathing in the stillness of the stagnant air. The road ahead is blocked by a wall of heavy glass. I watch the seasons and the lucky strangers pass. My pockets are heavy with the stones of old mistakes, waiting for the brittle branch to finally break. Oh, the acres are buried deep beneath the silt, underneath the monuments that hesitation built. I am a statue in the center of the square, searching for emotion that is no longer there. The compass needle is spinning in a frantic circle. The twilight is turning a bruised and heavy purple. I am rooted like a tree in a concrete floor, listening for the turning of a locked and bolted door. They say the river flows even when the ice is thick, but my pulse is slowing down like a dying wick. I've memorized the cracks across the plaster wall, waiting for a giant wind to make the fortress fall. The morning coffee has gone bitter in the cup. I am looking down when I should be looking up. The calendar pages all yellowed and they are dry, while the blue horizon mocks me with a vacant eye. I tried to hammer out a key from a broken spoon. I tried to how a melody to a deaf and silent moon, but the gravity is dragging at my weary bones. I am building up a kingdom out of heavy stones. Oh, the anchor buried deep beneath the silt, underneath the monuments that hesitation built. I am a statue in the center of the square, searching for emotion that is no longer there. The compass needle is spinning in a frantic circle. The twilight is turning a bruised and heavy purple. I am breathing like a tree in a concrete floor, listening for the turning of a locked and bolted door. dice were cast upon a frozen table long ago, before the dust had settled on the valley floor below. pushing ships across the restless, hungry sea. You find your name etched deep within a piece of slate, while standing at the rusted lock of some forgotten gate. The sun is just a copper coin tossed into the sky, falling where the shadows of the ancient mountains lie. It is the heavy chain that binds the eagle to the ground. It is the silent song within the thunder and the sound. The road is paved with stones that knew your footsteps from the start. A map drawn out in ink upon the chambers of the heart, written in the iron and the salt of every tear. The only ghost that follows earth through every passing year. It is the heavy chain that binds the eagle to the ground. It is the silent song within the thunder and the sound. The road is paved with stones that knew your footsteps from the start. A map drawn out in ink upon the chambers of the heart, written in the iron and salt of every tear. The only ghost that follows us through every passing year. The prophets sell their visions for a silver piece or two, while looking for a doorway that the light is breaking through. The wheel is spinning faster than the eye can ever trace, but every turn is bringing us to this exact same place. The clock is ticking backwards in a room of broken glass, watching all the empires and the golden seasons pass. You can try to run until your lungs are thin and dry, but you cannot escape the script beneath the burning sky. It is the heavy chain that binds the eagle to the ground. It is the silent song within the thunder and the sound. The road is paved with stones that knew your footsteps from the start. A map drawn out in ink upon the chambers of the heart, written in the iron and salt is this free tear. The only ghost that follows us through every passing year. It is the heavy chain that binds the eagle to the ground. It is the silent song within the thunder and the sound. The road is paved with stones that knew your footsteps from the start. A map drawn out in ink upon the chambers of the heart, written in the iron and the salt of every year. The only ghost that follows us through every passing year. It is the heavy chain that binds the eagle to the ground. It is the silent song within the thunder and the sound. The road is paved with stones that knew your footsteps from the start.
Coffee grounds stay damp inside the sink, while shadows stretch across the kitchen floor.
A sudden look can push us to the brink, a heavy hand against the bedroom door. We calculate the cost of every word. The silence rings like iron on the glass. The sharpest things are those that go unheard, while waiting for the storm clouds just to pass.
But we weave our threads into the fabric fold,
A tangled mess of silver chest, turning off the nagging hallway light, giving all our grievances a rest.
I know the tilting temper of your stride, the way you take your breakfast on the run. There is no place for either us to hide when standing in the middle of the sun.
But we weave our threads into the fabric fold, a tangled mess of silver and of grit. The common days are worth their weight in gold, even when the pieces fail to fit. It is the anchor and the frame sail,
The bitter vinegar and sweet red wine,
a fragile map that shows us where we sail beneath the constellation so divine.
but we weave our friends into the fabric fold, a tangled mess of silver and of grit. The common days are worth their weight in gold, even when the pieces fail to fit. It is the anchor and the frame sail, the bitter vinegar and sweet red wine,
A fragile map that shows us where we fail
beneath the constellation so divine.
but we weave our threads into the fabric fold, a tangled mass of silver and of gold. The common days are worth their weight in gold, even when the pieces fail to fit. It is the anchor and the frame sail,
The bitter vinegar and sweet red wine,
a fragile map that shows us where we fail beneath the constellation so divine. The punch clock strikes a heavy hollow bell, while the sun sinks low beneath the dusty hill. I've got silver in my pocket and a restless crazy smile, but every time I bring it up you change your tune, acting like I'm renting some balloon you'll lose too soon. I'm not asking for a castle or a diamond parade, just a promise that you're in this and you're here to stay. But you dodge it like a bullet every time I speak, and I'm starting to feel like standing on my own 2 feet. I've been patient, I've been steady, but baby, I'm done waiting on someday maybe. Where's my brain, boy? I'm tired of the run around. Where's my brain, boy? You keep on letting me down. If you love me like you say, then why you always walk away from that one little thing? Yeah, where's my brain? Your mama keeps asking when we'll tie that knot. Your sister's dropping hints like she knows you forgot. Even your best friend said you're moving too slow, and he's not exactly known for ever taking it slow. I'm not trying to push you off some cliff too high, but forever shouldn't scare you if you're really my guy. And every time I bring it up you freeze like ice, like the word Mary is a roll of loaded dice. I've been patient, I've been steady, but baby, I'm done waiting on someday maybe. Where's my brain, boy? I'm tired of the run around. Where's my brain, boy? You keep on letting me down. If you're acting like you say, then why you always walk away from that one little thing? Yeah, where's my brain? I don't need a fairy tale, I don't need a perfect plan. I just need to know you're with me more than halfway in. 'Cause I'm done with all the waiting, done with maybe someday. If you want me for forever, then baby, say it your way. Where's my brain, boy? I'm tired of running around. Where's my brain, boy? You keep on letting me down. If you let me like you say, then why you always walk away from that one little thing? Yeah, where's my brain? 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 The dust settles on the windowsill while the sun drags its shadow across the floor. I found a reason to remain standing still, watching the light leak through the open door. You came along with a suitcase full of rain and a smile that didn't ask for any price. We walked down where the river meets the tracks, where the old men trade their stories for smoke. There was no heavy burden on our backs, and the silence was the only word we spoke. It's a funny thing how the wind begins to howl when you finally find a place to rest your head. But to be held in the hollow of the hand, to be known by the meadow and the bone, is to walk across a shifting patch of sand. Feel like you are finally heading home. Yes, to be loved is a heavy kind of praise, a map drawn on the palm of a weary face. The prophets are she didn't come to tear the fences down. You just leaned against the gate and called my name. Now the clock has forgotten how to chime, and the calendar is missing every page. We are just two travelers out of time, escaping from a self-constructed cage. There is a mercury pool within your eyes, reflecting every mountain I have climbed. But to be held in the hollow of a hand, to be known by the marrow and the bone, is to walk across a shifting patch of sand and feel like you are silently heading home. Yes, to be loved is a heavy kind of breeze, a mark drawn on the palm of a wearied face. They say the world is a cold and iron wheel, turning over those who cannot find their way. But there is a warmth that even stone can feel when the darkness finally turns into